All right, so if you're listening to this episode, that means you heard the last episode.
That means we're on fire.
And if you didn't, you should go back and listen to the last episode
Yes.
we talked about when to go from side hustle to full-time.
Yes.
But there was a second question that had come in, so we figured we'd make this two-parter about how to know when to work with your significant other or partner.
Especially if you're on that trajectory of trying to figure out side hustle to full-time for both partners.
So maybe we start with our story really quickly.
Yeah.
We were both already working for ourselves.
Yes.
So it was not even
we
there
met
was no
in
option.
the industry. Yeah, I was just sort of the way it was.
Yeah. Yeah, so we just, for us, starting another business was just we were like, oh, well, we're probably going to start 100 other businesses in our lifetime because that's just the way we are. And let's just do one together. Let's combine our knowledges and our ability to get clients and our ability to talk to people together.
Yes. And we also had we were in the same industry with different skill sets. So let's break this down because I don't think people will fully appreciate. I need to explain this. We started
I'll sit back and drink my
dating
pamplemousse.
in 2015. We started Aftermark, which is
AQ.
a video production company.
It was not okay, but at first it was not.
What do you mean?
We didn't that wasn't what we planned on doing when we first started it.
remember
It was supposed to be like this. We do live video and we know how to do YouTube.
That's what I'm saying. It was a video production company where you brought live as a skill set. I brought a little bit more on the YouTube production side. And we just knew that those two things were hot. People wanted to know how to do it well. And we had that for people to learn from us. Yeah. So that's why we started Aftermark.
Yeah.
While dating.
Yeah. That was kind of weird.
It was weird. So anyway, so that's 2016. He hasn't even proposed to me yet. We had started this business. And
Correct.
Then we got engaged and we got married in 2017. So I don't know what in the world we were thinking. I know. And
okay.
I understand. I know when I got engaged
just
too.
making sure.
Thank you for clarifying. But it was definitely not a conventional trajectory to couples in business together. I think in most situations that we hear about are a couple or partners decide, let's start this thing together.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's a marriage or a partnership of some kind where somebody's ready to start their side hustle full time and their partner's sort of trying to figure out how they're going to support, and then eventually they become a part of the team. I think that's probably the more typical example. But just to be clear, that was not our journey.
No, that wasn't our journey, but it doesn't mean that our journey is any different because of we've changed things. We've started different businesses since we've been together. Yeah. And knowing when to go about that has always been, I don't want to say challenging, but you face very similar struggles even when you've already started businesses. Because now another business for me is a side hustle, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's very similar conversations. The mechanics might sound different, but really if you strip it away and you break it down, it's no, Aftermarket is my full-time thing, but me and Blake are starting to do this other stuff. Babe, what do you think? The conversations are very similar. And so I think that knowing when, if I had to break it down to start something with your partner, you have to really both understand and be committed to building something. And there's plenty of partners and couples that work together that have very successful businesses together, and they kind of, very similar to what we're doing. They keep building off that. You don't just stop at one business. You kind of keep going and going and going, or you keep growing that business. For us, I want to know from you, what do you think was our point where we were okay, this Aftermarket thing is legit. Vin, you don't have to get another job.
Well, you also had your own marketing agency. We came together having our own businesses separately. And I had been in business for myself at that point for, I think, probably 7, 8 years. So I don't remember all the years. I lose track of them at this point. I don't know how long it's been. It's been a
Old lady
long
over
freaking
here.
time. I'm an old lady. But with that being said, we knew that our forces brought together could be used for good. It's just that it made more sense for you to pivot full time into that business, and I was still full time in my existing business while supporting. So Aftermark kind of became my side hustle, and I do think that is what happens for most couples. Is let's talk conventionally again.
Sure.
Partner A decides to start their business. They're side hustling. They decide to go full time. Yep. They're sustaining the business full time, but cheap employee is partner number B. So your partner is working a full-time job and really helping the family to make sure it stays afloat, but your business is doing okay now, and you're also able to support. And your partner B is now side hustling at night with you, whether they're folding the t-shirts and stuffing them in the packaging to ship them because you sold them on Etsy or whatever.
And all those things are super important.
And that is, I think, when you need to start thinking about how do we do this more efficiently? Because partner B is going to get burnt out on this side hustle that wasn't even 100%. Their passion in the first place.
100%.
If they're going to support the business, how do you, again, do the math problem where their full-time job needs to start exiting?
So you made a good point. Math problem comes first, like I said, but not necessarily comes first, but math problem is factored into the equation when you're talking about yourself. Passion comes into play when you are dealing with your partner. Because if I can't convey to you and this has happened to me, both of us, where I'll go off and be like, I want to do this new thing. And you're just like, okay. And you'll try to figure out why I'm passionate about it. What's the end result? Like, what are you trying to get to?
By the way, pro tip, just say okay. Don't say no. Just say okay. Because guess what? You need to navigate that passion.
Sure.
I may not be able to pull it out. And same thing with me. If I'm like, I have an idea, but it's really shiny object syndrome.
Yeah.
You got to let that play out. You have to put the foot down if the focus is too all over the place and you need to reel it back in. But
if your partner can see the reason why you're going in this direction, the passion, the drive, now all of a sudden, whether or not they know how to do what you're doing or whether or not they can support you right then and there, because maybe you are your mom and you have the kid, so maybe they can't give all that time to it, but they can see why you're going for what you're doing. That helps a ton, right? And then eventually, when that business grows to the point where, hey, you know what? Now we can both do this and they can support our family or whatever it is. That's the Holy Grail. To me, that's the Holy Grail. It's the Holy Grail for me that we get to do what we get to do almost entirely together at some point, right? In some regard, we get to blend everything we're doing together. And there's no greater feeling for me to know that that's the case. So you have to convey that passion, to your partner. I will also say this. It's definitely not for everybody.
Right. You have to keep that common goal in mind because it's very easy to be like, okay, I do love that we have this lifestyle freedom because the two of us are working on the same business, but we don't always work well together.
Right.
One is not automatic because you've made the finances work. It does have to be, we've talked in a previous episode about defining roles. It is so important that you have that and you understand that with each other because you don't want to get to a point that the bad energy takes away from the fact that this should be elevating the family.
So I've got a perfect example of that.
The partnership in general.
Right. So one of my best friends, Artie, and his wife, Julianne, I actually went to school with Julianne. She was working in an office. Artie's had his business for, years now. It got to the point where his business got so big and she hated her job at the office where he was like, well, why don't you just do the books for me? And that's kind of how they started. At first, she was doing the books a little bit on the side, here and there. And then it turned into, well, why don't you just do it for the business? And then you can spend time with the baby, and now the baby's 5 and he's starting kindergarten. But that's how it started.
Right.
It was an easy inroads because it was like, okay, well, we have the role. Here's your role. I'm not asking you to do everything for the business. We just need, here's one thing I'm not good at. Artie is not good at books and that kind of stuff.
Right.
He's really good at doing what he does.
Right.
And, she's now, and now she's full time with him, full time together, because it was just an easy fit. It worked out. So it wasn't like he was trying to reinvent the wheel. Oh, well, you got to come in and try and help me get clients. Oh, you got to try and come in no, it doesn't work that. Like, that's not how it works. You got to find roles that fit each person if you're going to come together on one singular business, and then take it from there. And that was a really good, like, I always look at them for that, because she just got to do what she was doing already at her other job that she didn't like. So it was a seamless transition for her.
Yeah.
And so when you can step back and see things that way, like, that's a really good transition for somebody. So maybe you're listening to this podcast and you have your business and your partner is in another role, but they see what you're doing, how you're working. Maybe you can find a role where something they're good at. It's not going to work everywhere.
Not everywhere, but it is so important that you respect that person for the skill set that they bring to the table, and let them leverage it in a way that helps the business. I mean, like, that's an amazing thing when you have someone in the family that's good at the books, like, that's good at finances, because in this world,
that's what I got you for.
It's all about having the ideas and creative.
Sure.
And it's so crazy with entrepreneurship. Like, you don't have to have this business degree. You don't have to be the best at math, but you do need to be really good at letting people know when I'm not good at this and I need you to cover that.
And that's
me.
what most people, that's why they stray away from maybe getting into business together or going down their own road, is because they don't understand the roles situation.
Yeah.
They don't understand that, well, you don't necessarily have to be the dreamer and the thinker, like the creative. You don't, and if it's a creative role, right? Or maybe you don't have to be the one making the sales calls, or maybe you don't have to be the one doing operations, or maybe you don't have to be the one doing the books. Once you start establishing that there's roles, we're good at stuff, we know how to communicate together, which is very crucial.
Yes.
Now we can combine the skill sets, and we're more powerful together than we are apart. Right.
Yeah.
And again, I gotta stress it though. Like, it's definitely like my parent. I think of my parents, for example, could never see my mom doing books for my dad.
Right.
My dad's business. Like, I just couldn't. And that's cool. But my mom loves going to her job.
Yes.
Clocking in, clocking out, being done.
She likes her life the way that it
Correct.
is. And it's amazing because that self-awareness gets lost so much these days. Your partner doesn't have to be a part of your business either. If they like what they've got going on and you guys have that balance. I think that's the other thing, is just because this is something we're doing does not mean that your marriage or your partnership is any less amazing.
Correct.
Because you do your different things. That works.
And if you
for people.
if you are the partner with the business in your relationship, it's also very important to understand that the partner with just the 9-to-5 job, or the partner that maybe is not involved in the business, is not any less in life, right? So you still have to invest in the relationship. You still have to invest in spending time with them. They're not going to make it's easy to be like, oh man, well, I'm running my own business. I'm busy,
Yeah. What I'm
sun
doing
up to
is
sun
so
down.
much more
Sorry,
important.
I can't spend time with you.
Yep.
Like, okay, well, that
can be an easy place to go.
That's not the way you go either. So, and people listening to this might not like it, but I understand, you're in build mode, you're in 0 to 1 mode, you're grinding, you're hustling everything. But like, if you don't have time to step away and have a life too, like, you're, number one, your partner's going to resent you and you'll never work together, but you're going to burn yourself out. So like, there is a balance with that as well.
There is a conversation to be had in that.
That's more than a conversation.
Because you know what? That's
an understanding.
There is going to be a season when you're going from side hustle to full time. Let's just say it's just partner A at this point. It's grind for a while.
Sure.
It's grind for a while. Do
Absolutely.
you need to be respectful of your family and we talked a lot about expectations in a previous podcast and intentions.
Sure.
And if the intention is that I'm doing this so that I can get more time with my family, you got to walk that walk. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're doing anything important. If you're just busying yourself, and it's very easy to say like, oh, I'm not done with everything because I need to do everything, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing a justice to your business, much less to your family and your significant other. Yeah. But there is a period of time, and it can be long, that you are starting your business full time, and it's grind. It is grind, and it can be easy to take out that stress of the grind on the people around you.
I mean, listen, we still do. You and I.
Of course.
Like, it still happens. We're still, the stresses of our day-to-day end up coming out at home at times. It happens. Like, it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. The best part about it, though, is that you actually get what I'm talking about, as opposed to we're not working together, and I'm just dumping these undue things onto you where you're just like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right? I can't even help you.
Yeah.
And again, that works for us. But I will say to those listening and to those watching and whatever, like, that for me is the absolute best part, is that I get to talk about these things. I get to get feedback and pushback and help because you're actually in it. Like, there's skin in the game. It's not just like, oh, well, that's his little pet project, whatever, do your thing. Like, this is skin in the game for both of us.
Yeah.
And that's the cool part. Like,
I really respect the pet projects, because
there's
the pet projects,
I've got a lot of them.
You have a lot, but
I'm actually creating one right now while we're talking.
100 pet projects, but I still respect that process, because if you let somebody have that creative space for it to go from a pet project to something bigger, then just give someone at least the mindset space that they're allowed to imagine that.
Your relationship, partnership can be an amazing incubator for ideas, can be an amazing incubator for a business, more so than from outside individuals. I truly do believe there is a advantage.
I would argue a little on that. Well, it depends.
Yes.
It depends.
But I think there's an advantage. Obviously, not every partner is going to have this, but there's an advantage if you do have a partner that you can leverage each other's skill sets. There's an advantage to that.
There's a huge advantage to that. Huge advantage.
Huge leg up to somebody that has maybe someone at home that is nagging them to work less. Don't do your own thing. Just go work a 9 to 5. Huge advantage.
Or worse, or you have a partner who you have no intention of going into business with, but they're having a hard time even giving you any motivation, and usually doing the opposite and saying, I don't think you actually are going to be able to build this thing. I don't think you're ever going to be able to support the company, much less me, and me leave my job. That's a real conversation that's happening.
And I know we were originally trying to talk about, like, when do you work together, but there's also
when do you not?
When do you not, right? I will also add that it is beneficial to have a partner that is supportive, like you said. And so if you are that partner, if you are the other partner, like, be supportive, because that is being part of the team as well.
Yeah.
Just your support, just being able to help in that regard can be a huge benefit to someone who's building and who's grinding and whatever other buzzword term you want to throw in there for hustling. Like, the person that's doing that, they do need support from someone else that's saying, like, you got this. What can I do for you? Even if you're not maybe a actual partner on the team, right?
I agree. I just want to speak to my previous relationship, because it was the relationship I was in when I first started.
To speak about your
I'm just going to say, because this is a very important nuance. There were a lot of things that I had to do in order to start my business, and one of them was like, I'm getting rid of my apartment. I don't need to have a rent payment. And I said to my boyfriend at the time, like, I'm moving in with you. We've been dating for 3 years. If you have a problem with it.
It's a very Amy thing to do.
Like, I mean, if you have a problem with it, that's fine.
I'm moving in.
But this is going to change my life. So if you're not into it, you don't need to be a part of my life. That's okay. I'll move in with my mom and dad and live in the basement.
That's self-awareness.
I mean,
man,
I'm saying. So,
that's good.
But he understood. And although I don't think I got support from him in certain ways, there were a lot of things that he helped to support me on so that I didn't have to worry about the decision that I was making. So I just want to
support can be, yes.
I want to say that, because it may feel like your partner is not giving you support, but try to sit in their seat. If they're literally not supporting you at all, and there's a whole lot of things working against you in that case, then maybe I would give out the advice like, is this person right for you? Or, are you, where are you in your life with that? Yeah. That's a big conversation. But if somebody is supporting you in some ways, start thinking about your love languages here, because that may be the way that they show love, is the way that they're giving you support, and the way that they don't typically show love, like words of affirmation. You may not ever get that from them. And I don't think you should expect that, because you're then expecting something of someone that they're not good at.
Right.
And you need to go find that someplace else. Mm-hmm. Go get a mastermind group, go get a coach, go get go get a digital mentor, watch a million YouTube videos and listen to podcasts. There are ways to get your words of affirmation. They don't have to come from one specific source, your mom, your dad, your significant other, your kids, whatever. It doesn't have to be those people. Just respect the people for the type of support they're offering you, because it may be the most they can.
Yeah.
I think that's an important thing to point out, because
it could be chores around the house. It could be,
because there's also going to be situations where your partner is just not a fit. Like, you need to decide, I'm going to change my life. Does this person fit in that?
I know.
But most of the time it's just that they're not there yet. They're willing to help you change the oil in the bandwagon, but like, they're not going to do anything else until it's actually working and going down the road, and then they'll cheer for you to, like, I talk about the bandwagon a lot. I've never heard of that
before. Usually a bandwagon is like a horse-drawn carriage.
Okay. Well, okay.
No oil required.
I didn't even know that. Is that true? Is a horse-drawn carriage? I'm just thinking like a bandwagon.
When I think about a bandwagon,
like, I'm just thinking about like a dope bus. Okay, so let's call it a tour bus. Okay. Everyone loves a good tour bus.
We're changing the bandwagon.
Okay, we're changing the bandwagon, because I always talk about the bandwagon, because everybody wants the bandwagon, but you're not going to get it until you've put all the work in. You've got to build it. You've got to decorate it. You've got to put the work in. You have to go down the road.
I get it.
We're not talking about football.
I'm just saying.
Stop. You can't change the analogy that much.
I'm just saying.
So what I'm saying is, somebody's going to want to jump on your bandwagon, but you have to do the work first. Your partners are in it at the very early stages, and they're only going to do so much with it. They're not going to be a whole totally in it in some cases, and you have to respect what they are capable of helping with. That's all I'm saying.
I like it.
That went a little far on the bandwagon thing.
Went a little far. I just let you go with it. I'm not going to stop you.
But I've learned my lesson. The bandwagon issue is a real thing. Like, people want it, but they don't realize that the people that do have people jumping on their bandwagon, they've been working at it for a long time, and it takes time to get there, even sometimes with your own family and friends.
I think she's hinting. I think you're hinting.
No, I'm not hinting.
Are you saying that I'm riding your coattails?
Oh, God. Where are you going with that?
I'm jumping on your bandwagon?
No, you're like on the caboose, because now it's a train.
I'm just, all right. Well done. I like that. Like, if I had probably the complete opposite experience with someone I was dating for a long time, and I was trying to struggle through this whole your own business thing, and I going through all that, and that was truly like zero support, support from the perspective of understanding, just saying like, okay, I get it. You have to go to a networking. I was doing those BLI, whatever, networking group in the mornings. I don't know if you guys look it up, whatever the hell they're called. They're BNI or something like that. They're networking groups. And I would do those, they were 7:00 in the morning. So I'd have to be up extra early before my job, go to that, leave by 8 to head out to the office. And then I would come back home and do other things in the evening, before dinner time. And when you just have someone who just like is constantly like, does this have to be every day? Or it wasn't every day. Like, is this every Tuesday and Wednesday? You can hear those kind of things nagging, and you're just like, that's when like, that's not the right partner for you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, if nothing else, like that, maybe that wasn't the life she signed up for, and you guys were learning that in the process. Sure. But also, like, she doesn't see the big picture then. Yeah. And was that picture painted for her? Maybe not. Maybe because you didn't know it either. But usually that's a really strong indication if you don't even want to paint the picture for somebody, then they're not a right fit for you, and you're just learning that about each other.
It was kind of like painting the picture as I was like stretching the canvas. Like, it was like paintbrush and canvas all at once. One of those. So Yeah, not many people would probably jump on that bandwagon because there wasn't a bandwagon. It was just me pedaling my little unicycle.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. I could see that actually. Let's get one of your Instagram illustrations to be like that. You on a unicycle.
Good call. That would be funny.
Yeah. What are those things called?
They're like surreal NFT,
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
NFT thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We don't have to go down that road.
Yeah.
That's a
no,
whole
I
nother
know,
episode.
but like I just don't know what it's called because it's one of your pet projects.
Crypto
and I'm just,
art.
Like not really into
Crypto
it.
art. Crypto art. The Luso house.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Shout
Well,
out.
I would love to know. I think there's going to be a lot of follow-up questions on this type of content. Like this was a two-parter because it's pretty heavy and everybody's situations are so different. So I think we could talk about this again in the future. Share your thoughts on this at Common Goal Pod on Instagram. You can DM us or reply to our latest Instagram photo. Just what was your thought on this subject and did it help you and your partner in your side hustle and or full-time business? And if you really liked it, you can leave us your true and honest review in the iTunes podcast store.
5 stars. I just want another cheese stick, to be honest with you.
We had these really good cheese sticks.
Where's
before
Monica?
we started
Tell Monica to get a cheese stick.
Yeah. Sargento needs to just reel
sticks.
it in because this other cheese stick was probably the best I've ever had.
What are they called, Blake?
I shouldn't be eating dairy, by the way, but it was
okay.
great. It was really good.
Blake's not good with words
It's
that
like
are
called
not
cheese
English.
head or something, isn't it?
Frigo.
Oh, it's Frigo. Frigo's
Frigo.
coming for Sargento.
We love it.
Anyway.
5 stars.
Okay. Yeah.
And a cheese
5
stick.
stars like a cheese stick.
5 stars and a cheese stick, and I'll love you forever.
All right. See you on the next one.